Howdy y'all, I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you guys are safe and I hope you guys are healthy. My name is Josh and I absolutely love clothing, fashion, things related to it. And so today I'm bringing you guys a video of why I don't really like sneakers anymore. It's kind of going to be like a discussion type of video. I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below or in my DMs if you want on Instagram at wears_Galdo. I simply don't care that much for sneakers as far as sneaker culture or really anything sneaker related as of late, unfortunately. Now that's not to say that I don't have sneakers in my rotation anymore. I do have a handful of them, but it isn't anywhere near what it was. And I'll explain. So if we're backtracking like all the way to like high school for me, which was like maybe 10 years ago. Oh my gosh, that's really weird to say. But I did get into sneakers in high school primarily because everybody else was into sneakers as well, and I really wanted to kind of fit in and try my hand at this whole new interest at the time. I was in high school from 2010 to 2014, and I think that was kind of like peak time for early sneaker, like the early sneaker craze. Now, yes, sneakers existed and the sneaker culture existed before that, but around the 2010s to 2014, at least for me personally, is when it kind of was shown to me, and it was something that I kind of adopted into my own personality and my own interests. Now, what is it exactly that made me fall in love with sneakers? There was just so very many of them, and they came in all sorts of different colors, and they had different meanings to them. Like, I remember at one point, it was, for me, I was like, wow, I really need a pair of Chicago 1s, because it is like the first colorway of the Jordan 1. I was like, so like, that was my grail at the time. I know one of the very first shoes that I really wanted was the Nike SB Dunk Purple Pigeons. Just hearing the stories of the crazes of the SB like days, like the SB days happened like a little bit before I got into sneakers, but I had romanticized about that era of sneakers. And so I was like, wow, all these crazy, interesting SBs back in the day in the 2000s was crazy to me, and that was kind of like what I really wanted. And so learning about the different artists, the different athletes, the different colorways and the stories behind them was so, in my mind, so cool. So all these inspirations, all these collaborations, all these different elements of design being brought into sneakers was so fascinating to me. I remember that one of my very first stories that I thought was so cool was the Nike Huarache. I know a lot of people either love or hate the Nike Huarache, but, and I don't even know if I'm saying it right, to be honest with you, so apologies if I'm not, but I remember that I was like, oh, it was Tinker Hatfield who was on some sort of like scuba diving trip and got inspired by the neoprene that was used in the wetsuits to kind of keep the body like insulated and warm, and then it just kind of, it was form-fitting, so that he brought that element of neoprene utility of that material into sneakers, and that kind of gets lost because not a lot of people really know that whole like story. And to be honest, I don't even know if that story is 100% true, so if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. But just to see these design elements come from experiences or inspirations from other things was just so cool for me to learn. However, how cool sneakers aren't what this video is about. I started kind of falling out of that whole sneaker thing. At one point, I actually had worked for a sneaker store, and I was able to get myself like guaranteed pairs of certain items, and it did really well for me, and I was really excited to be able to kind of guarantee my shoes at certain points, and I was able to really, you know, expand my sneaker collection with newer releases. My sneaker collection was at about like 50 pairs or so, which at the time working for minimum wage, I was spending a whole lot more than I really should have on sneakers. I don't necessarily regret it because that was what was necessary to get me to this point now, but is it really all that worth it? I started to question, and I started to be like, I'm owning a lot of different colors of the same pairs of sneakers. I remember at one point I had like 4 or 5 different pairs of Jordan 1s. At one point I had Royals, I had Breads, I had Chicagos, I had the like Sail Off-White pair, and then I had the Cyber Monday pair, I think it was called. And so I was like, I have like a bunch of different iterations of the same exact thing. I am spending a whole lot of money on what is the same exact thing, and these colors are really kind of, I have to dress around these colors that are on my sneakers, which is what I assume a lot of sneakerheads do, is that they kind of choose their outfits based off of what they're wearing on their feet. As I started to kind of find more of an interest in fashion and just styling in general, I thought that these sneakers and the colors that were coming through on them were actually pretty limiting. And so my attitude shifted from I'm going to dress around my sneakers to I want the entire outfit to go together really well. So with that, I wanted to start buying shoes that basically went with everything. So I started kind of easy. I got like a pair of all white Air Force Ones, which goes just about anything that you could possibly wear. I bought a pair of white Stan Smiths. I bought Reebok Club C's, just really base level, and I mean, I know basic is kind of seen in a negative light, but the most plain and basic shoes that I could possibly go with so that I could dress around that and it wouldn't affect my overall outfit all that much. And so nowadays, the way that I kind of come up with outfits is really actually stems from the pants. The fit of the pants for me is my starting point. Fit of pants dictates what shoes I wear so that the pants can lay on them properly, and then usually I'm just wearing a blank t-shirt or something blank up top that I can use for general upper body shape. And then yeah, I'm getting a little too into it, but that's generally how I do it, in case you were wondering. But pulling it back to sneakers, I was like, as sneaker culture had progressed, the resale market back in 2010 to 2014 was actually really calm. I remember you could get Grail level sneakers for like maybe like 500, 400, 600, somewhere around that price range, which was a lot of money and still is a lot of money. But seeing how the sneaker community values these sneakers is very strange, because obviously if something is more sought after, if something is more limited, it's going to be more expensive, absolutely. But it just kept getting more and more expensive, and now we're in 2022 and some of the most like Grail level sneakers are like in the thousands, which blows my mind. I know a pair of regular Chicago ones go for maybe like $1 to $2 grand. And I'm like, back when I started in sneakers, I could get a pair of Chicago ones for like $400, $500, $600. And I was like, I'm so surprised that it's been able to kind of escalate to this level, but it makes me not want to participate because all of these sneakers cost that much more money, so I can't buy as many. To kind of sum that whole rant up, sneakers basically cost more than I think they're worth nowadays. And what I do think is worth it is shoes that kind of go with just about everything. I know a lot of you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, have seen me wear a lot of derbies, a lot of boots, a lot of all these things. And yes, I am buying a lot of the same type of shoe, but these shoes that I'm buying, these derbies, loafers, boots, and stuff like that, they're not limiting to my outfits because they go with just about everything that I can possibly put together. Yes, there are different elements to the boots that I buy and derbies and stuff like that, like some are chunkier, some are slimmer, but they contribute to the overall silhouette and they're not limiting to my outfits. If that makes any sense. If I make no sense at all, feel free to just call me out in the comments below. Another thing that I've kind of, in my eyes, grown out of is depending on color in my outfits. I don't really like wearing a lot of bold color anymore. I used to wear a lot of like red, blue, One of my favorite colors, even to this day, is still yellow. I used to use a lot of different colors, but there was just certain things that I couldn't wear. Like I can't wear colors that are too strikingly contrasting. Like if I wore yellow and blue, I would just look like I'm a Golden State Warriors fan, which I'm not a sports guy. So I know I'm like kind of rambling a lot in this video, but it really is just something that I was like, I found really limiting. And so now I dress primarily in neutral colors, earth tones, and mostly black. And I find that it's pretty freeing to be able to not have to consider how things go together color-wise. And so the primary thing that I'm considering nowadays when I'm making my daily outfits is just overall silhouette and shape. And that's kind of freeing to not have to worry if colors go together. I don't know if that's just a sign of me being lazy or if that's just me trying to find a better way and more efficient way to dress. That's really up to interpretation. Apologies, I'm going on quite a bit of tangents here, but backtracking to the primary topic of this video, sneakers, as of late, sneaker releases have really kind of bored me. Like, I know like some of the most popular sneaker releases as of late, like if you look at like the JJJound releases, JJJound is super normal looking. Like, I can't say that I love them because you can just get the same effect with just a regular general release pair, so I wasn't really into those releases. That's not really like, I think one of the most recent sneakers that I was like considering buying was actually the Eames collaboration with Reebok, but I kind of refrained from buying it just because it's so plain. I could just get a general release pair of Reebok Club C's and it'd just do the same thing. Like, as of late, there's an appreciation for minimalism in the sneaker space, and I think it's great. I think it looks great, but it doesn't really seem, and again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, whatever, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of creative design work going into the sneaker space. Yeah, there are some things that I would absolutely love to have in my collection, like if I had the Salomon Boris Bidjanseveri collaboration shoes. I think those are really cool just because Salomon has really functional sneakers, as well as the contribution from Boris Bidjanseveri. The dyeing process, the unevenness, the low-key, like grotesque looking but really interesting looking colors that they come in is really cool. Yeah, but just in general, most sneakers to me just kind of lost their luster in my eyes. And if you say that I'm only into Salomon and Boris Bidjanseveri because of Jacob Wallace, yeah, probably. Another sneaker-related tangent I would like to go on is the popularity of designer sneakers as of late. It wasn't until the Triple S from Balenciaga came out. I mean, well, okay, if we backtrack it even further, when Louis Vuitton and Kanye West did the collaboration, that's, I think, the kind of starting point for designer sneakers to be relevant in sneaker culture, but more so widespread when the Balenciaga Triple S came out. It's hard for me to like place an opinion on designer sneakers because I really don't own any. I've tried them on. I think they look really good. I think they're really cool, but retail price is just so very high. I think a pair of Triple S's are like $1,200, and how do people afford that? Like, it doesn't seem all that realistic to exist in like the sneaker culture space because that's just like crazy amounts of money. But considering what resale prices are for some things, like if you wanted a pair of Travis Scott Jordan 1s, I'm not particularly a fan, but if you wanted a pair of like the original Travis Scott Jordan 1 highs, the brown and white one, those are probably going to be reselling for, I mean, just about as much money as you could get a regular like designer sneaker at retail, which blows my mind. I don't think they should really be comparable in price, to be honest with you. I don't know if that's a hot take, But yeah, designer sneakers, I think they look really good. They don't usually perform very well because if they're from designer like brands, then they're probably not putting in a whole lot of technology into it, because it's really more so aesthetically pleasing as opposed to utility. That just depended on brand though. But yeah, I guess if I were to sum up this entire video, is that sneakers got too expensive for me to actually enjoy. So I'd much rather, well, sneakers got too expensive for me to want a lot of them. And I'd much rather go with derbies, boots, loafers, things like that, because they seamlessly go with everything else that I purchase and everything else that I wear. So yeah, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are though. I'm very, very fascinated, and I would personally chalk it up to me getting a little bit older. I'm 26 now, well, during the time I'm recording this video, but I'm 26. I'm dressing a little bit differently, and I have different goals for the way that I dress compared to, you know, a couple of years back. And I can definitely say that I'm dressing more for me and more for things that I enjoy. And, you know, I guess that's always ultimately the goal, right? Yeah, but anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below or in my DMs on Instagram. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this is kind of like food for thought type of video. If you guys don't like it, you don't like it. Sorry, my bad. But until my next video, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.